Okay, now this video is going to be doing a demo of how to do a rather complex layout. So let's just study this form for just a minute. And you can kind of sort of see there's lots and lots of moving parts. So there's basically it's a two-panel kind of a thing, or like a left-hand side, like a two-column newspaper kind of a thing. So one column has a bunch of controls, and then the other column has what's a thing called a text area. We haven't talked about that, but it's not relevant for this. And then there's some buttons down here. And so you need to figure out how you can stack containers on top of containers on top of containers on top of containers to be able to get this to work. And it's not immediately clear. It takes a little bit of practice, which is why we're doing this. So you probably need to be doing this like on a practice exam, a practice project, just to get familiar with it. And if you had been paying attention to what I've been telling you to do, this one particular layout is remarkably similar to something else that you might be asked to do later on. So hint, 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 hint. So I'm going to show you how this thing actually gets built. All right, so here's the stage, right? You know, the stage is the big thing, right? Okay, cool. And so then I build a scene. The scene goes onto a stage. Okay, and now I need to break up into basically H boxes and V boxes to be able to make everything fit. So the first one, and this is kind of arbitrary which one you go to, is I need a V box so I can have stuff at the top and then have those buttons down at the bottom. Okay, so I have a V box where I'm going to end up putting two things in. Some stuff at the top and then some stuff at the bottom where the buttons go. And then I'm going to need some H boxes. So I need an H box for the column, the labels and the text fields, label text fields. Then over here I need something for these two separate text areas to show up, right? Okay, so I have a V box and then two H boxes in top that are inside of it. Okay, stop the video if this is not making sense. I need to be able to break this thing up to have a top and a bottom, and then I need to have a left and a right, and then another left and a right. And oh wait, we're not done. So I can put the buttons here, and so we're kind of done with that bottom H box. It doesn't need anything more, but the top H box needs a lot more. I need to have a grid pane where I can put, my labels and text fields, right? And over here I need another V box where I can put the other stuff. So, just right off the bat, this complex thing is going to take two V boxes to pull it off and two H boxes to pull it off. So you just play with this, and I promise you it'll make a little bit more sense as we go along. Now, I've cautioned you before that this may be the way it's laid out programmatically. I mean, this is how, what has to be inside what, but you don't start with this, you start with the top. In other words, you don't start at the bottom, you don't start coding like the V box, this first V box. You don't start coding there. You start coding with the controls, okay? So, let's do this. We're going to do precisely this thing. All right. So one more time, back to here. This is what I want it to look like. And I very purposely put like a long label to indicate that this is right justified. Okay, cool. So this is going to be a grid, okay, with label. And this thing is a combo box. Once again, we haven't talked about that, but for purposes of layout, it doesn't matter what these controls are. So label in a combo box, a label in a text field, label in a text field, label in a text field. This thing's called a text area, and button. Okay? So this is how you would have to lay it out. And if you stare at this long enough, you realize that I needed a V box here to separate the bottom, and then I need an H box over here to handle this, an H box over here. But wait, these things are stacked vertically, so I need a V box inside the H box. I know. Okay, it's a lot. But one more time. This is how it is built, but you start with the dark blue. You start with, the buttons and the text areas and the combo box. I'm probably going to start with this part over here because for no particular reason. Okay, this kind of sort of makes sense. I certainly hope so, because you're going to have to end up doing this. All right, so I'm going to build me a brand new project. So new project, make sure you pick the right project type. And I'm just going to call this one Layout. I'll call it Layout 1 for a reason here in just a minute. Okay. It's not called that. Why? Okay, let me just start over. I don't know what the heck I hit on my keyboard, but I did something that messed it up. Cool. And I'm going to call this Layout 1. All right, cool. Now, just to speed things up, since we're going to start with controls, I'm going to go ahead and just grab some text just to speed the video up. So here I already have a bunch of stuff already done up. So I'm just going to grab this as a starting point. Okay, cool. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to go to this guy, this guy. Oh yeah, I forgot about, let me get rid of all this junk. So I'm going to delete that guy. And then open this guy up and basically just replace everything in here with what I have in my paste buffer. Okay, all I did was just speed things up so you don't have to spend much time. All right, here we go. So I built I just built the labels first for no particular reason. You know, label 1, label 2, label 3. And then I built a combo box and then some text fields, no problem. I need some buttons, which obviously I don't have the thing for. So I have, you know, button 1 and button 2. Those are the ones at the bottom. I have some text areas. I have a grid pane, okay? And then I put all of the labels in the combo box and labels in the text field areas, all that stuff, okay? All right, let's just go see what this thing looks like so far. Oh, I didn't actually do anything, did I? I didn't actually put, all I did was build controls, okay? Cool. So all I did was just build the grid thing. So there's an awful lot of stuff we're going to have to do to make this make sense, okay? So step 1, if you're paying attention, step 1 is build all of the controls that are going to show up. That's step 1. Okay. Step 2 is going to be tweaking them. Okay, for example, I want to set like for example, I want this combo box to be the exact same length as my text fields. Wouldn't that kind of make sense? Okay? So I'm going to go through and do precisely that. So now that I got them built, I'm going to go down to here someplace and say, for example, I'm going to go for combo box 1, set pref width, and I'm going to make them 250. Okay, and just to speed things up, I'm just going to grab this and just copy and paste it because I know that all the text field guys are going to be the same. Okay, cool. So this is going to be TF1, TF2. Dang, you know, if I could spell. And it's not TF? What the heck is it? Oh, TF2, 3, and 4. I can't count. 2, 3, TF4. Okay, so let's just look at this to see what it looks like now. Because all I've done, I've just begun to tweak this thing a little bit. Haven't tweaked it a lot, but just a tiny bit. So I'm going to go through and see what it looks like. Maybe make some more tweaks. Okay, that's better. Now these things are, but they're all touching. So how did I set the gaps between these guys? Ooh, remember that guy? So I need to go through here and set some gaps, right? Something like GP set H gap. Let's make it 5, something like that. And then the GP set V gap at 5. All right, let's see what that looks like. We're getting close. We're getting close to our picture. Okay, that's not bad. Let's compare it to the picture and see if there's any difference. Yeah, I can kind of sort of tell there's a difference. maybe the spacing is not quite the same, but look at the labels. The labels are not lined up on the justification, so I need to fix that. Cool. So let's go back to our application. So let's just keep going. And this one, for reasons that are not immediately clear, I use the grid pane as a static class. I don't know why. Who cares? And so I did set H alignment. What the heck just happened? Oh, set H alignment, and I want to set the labels, right? LB1. And I want the position to be not left, but I want the position to be right. And just for the sake of making this thing go faster, I'm just going to do a copy and paste. Come on, cursor, behave. I got people watching. So this is LB2 and LB3. Oh, daggone it. And LB4. All right, let's see if we're getting a little closer. So let's run our guy and see if it matches the picture. That's not bad. That kind of looks like that, doesn't it? Okay, maybe a little bit more spacing than there. Maybe I used 10 or something in there. Maybe I'm not trying to get this thing exactly right, but what the heck, right? Let's go ahead and make this position the vertical 10 rather than 5. Okay, I know this is kind of tweaking. All right, so I'm having fun, but I'm actually spreading this thing around. Okay, cool. So now that I've got that, so I've tweaked the things the way I want them. So step 3 is going to be start building those containers and putting those containers where they belong. Okay, so in order to put this in here, I'm going to need a VBox for. So I'm kind of sort of done with this guy, right? I mean the grid guy. But remember over here I had I need a VBox for those text area guys. Okay, so let's go there. Let's go create us a VBox. So VBox, I'm going to call this one VB text area just because I need to be able to tell them apart. Text, that's good. VB text is equal to new VBox. And let's go ahead and start with a spacing of that. And I'm going to go ahead and put TA1 and TA2 in there, right? Because that's how they belong. Cool. Now, my real question is going to be, where do I put this? Okay? I've got this guy built, but how do I put this in the scene? Okay, to answer that question, I need to go back to the original design thing and look at this last thing. Okay, so I just built this VBox, but this VBox goes inside an HBox. Okay, so that's what I need to build. I need to build an HBox. So here we go. So I'm going to do HBox. And I don't know what to call these things. I'm going to call this one top. That kind of makes sense to me. I don't know why. And so this is HBox. Let's use the same 10 spacing. But in the horizontal box, okay, the HBox thing, one of them is going to be the grid, right? GP, the grid pane. And the other one is going to be this thing that contains the text area guys. So let's do VB text. Okay, like that. That kind of sort of makes sense? Of course you've never heard of this before in your entire life. Ooh, that's capital B. Okay, that kind of makes sense? All right. So let's go see what this looks like to see if one. Oh, wait a minute! I can't have this guy now. This guy has to be HB top. I have to change what goes into the scene. Let's see what's going on. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, now I don't really like the thing that this is bang up against the top, right? I mean, that's okay, but there's probably a way. I mean, I'd like a little gap over here on the side and a little gap over here, maybe a gap at the bottom, because this is getting kind of tight. So there's a thing in there where you can go in there and add some padding. But we're coming up on the 15-minute mark, but this should be making a little bit of sense.